Let's be for real. Our own show. Like at this point, we have like the B team
Midnight Sled.
Oh,
What? You can't even hear me.
no, I think they can.
I'll look.
Yeah.
But can they actually?
Okay.
We're live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's kind of an echo, so maybe move that microphone a
Yes,
right
I have
now?
the best thoughts, Cal. So I want to make sure they can hear me on the end.
Are we sure?
She does not know to play the intro. We're just gonna go live.
That's fine.
Well,
I guarantee you.
I know Dewey's watching. I'm
All right,
gonna give Dewey a
we'll
shout
go
out
when we're
to start
ready.
the show.
Let's roll.
Hello and welcome back to the B Team Sports Show. I'm Jack Kenna.
I'm Grant Shue.
I'm Case Spears.
I'm Tyler Brewer.
And I'm Trevor Burns.
And we are here. It is March.
Finally.
Which means we have some March Madness basketball to cover. Quick shout out. Shout out Dewey. I know you're watching this out at home. Hope you had a great school day.
Make sure you guys leave some questions in the comments. We're going to do a little Q&A segment. You can ask us some sports questions. You can ask us just some general questions. We're ready for it.
And we're ready to tackle the toughest subjects. So,
Like Kansas basketball.
like Kansas
Maybe
basketball.
not that. Maybe not that.
Where are the best places to eat in Lawrence? Everything we got.
I heard there's someone on Run It Back who really wants to talk about.
Not really a
Best
sports.
places
Not
to
really a
watch.
sports.
There
Not
is
really a
Shout out,
sports
babe.
thing.
There's someone on Run It Back who wants to do something like that. Alrighty. What else? What else? We got some basketball news. We got some sports news to cover while we're waiting for some of those questions to roll in. Kyrie Irving tore his ACL.
Case. Let's just give Case a minute here.
Notorious Mavs fan, Case Spade.
Yeah, definitely been a hard season, I would say, as far as what this team has gone through, what Kyrie Irving has gone through, gone to one NBA superstar to another. Felt like his partner in crime was traded away by our GM, and everything in Dallas right now is just going straight down the drain. And to have a guy like Kyrie Irving, who was one of the only few on the team who I felt like actually tried on offense and defense and poured his heart into the game, to lose a guy like that is just absolutely detrimental to the team. And now the Hospital Mavericks agenda is coming,
I mean,
and it's happening now.
I think I just shed a tear during that.
Who do you guys
monologue.
have? Like,
Nobody.
honestly.
We got about
ambulance
a
driver's out. Ambulance driver, 8 Disney.
A
Anthony
Disney,
Davis.
always down,
Anthony
always
day-to-day.
injured. No, we have Klay Thompson. Our lineup is going
The
to
big
be
2025. Are we
Josh Hardy, Klay Thompson, I believe, PJ Washington, Najee Marshall, and then we signed a guy off of a 10-day contract. So
That's not crazy.
we
Times
all
are getting
three
rough.
of our centers right now, Anthony Davis, Gafford, and Lively, are injured.
This
so,
was a finals team
Yikes.
last season.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
somehow it
Let's
was.
trade away.
I think,
They
I think
beat
it
the
shows
Thunder.
just how important
Rebuild.
Luka was to that team, though. They fell apart as soon as they
Well,
lost.
I mean, Luka doesn't prevent Kyrie from getting
No,
what,
No, but it
12
goes without
ACL or
saying that
something?
if they
this
have
might be
Luka,
the worst month for Mavs fans. Like, just
the
everything
worst season.
The worst season, yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
Well, I mean, I don't think it gets any worse for
No.
any other team.
You should
in
not
the
have.
NBA.
No.
You should.
Yeah. I don't know.
we'll clip that when
Yeah,
something
well-
worse happens.
We
Let
traded
Klay
away
Thompson
Quentin.
goes down.
Not to mention
That
though,
might be a good
the
thing.
Mavs traded away Quentin Grimes, and he dropped 44 points for Philadelphia the other day for
that's-
Caleb Martin, who is injured. Are we serious? So
It gets better and better.
Hey, I just had to dump on the desk.
Yeah, that
It
was
gets
my
better
fault.
and
My
better
fault.
every time we have Case on the show.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some champions now. Saquon Barkley got a huge payday
Like 45.
after
What's
he
it?
won Super Bowl. He didn't win MVP, did he?
It's like 45
he
million.
didn't win
right?
MVP.
No,
He
didn't
did
MVP.
win the
It
Super
hurts.
Bowl.
Here's what I'm going to say with Saquon Barkley. I think for a while there was a scare in the running back community. I think people were scared to pay running backs because they were getting hurt left and right. The Eagles take a chance. They pay Saquon, results in a Super Bowl. So I think Saquon kind of saved that running back name. I think you're going to see some more running back contracts coming up here soon.
Nothing like
got-
that though.
He got rewarded.
$41.2 million
for what he did.
on a 2-year extension.
And it's impressive because, like he touched on, the running back position is just so replaceable. It really is. But those
Saquon-
top tier
yeah,
guys
he's not a replaceable
are
guy.
so dominant.
He's nice.
And the deal that he had in Philadelphia last year, if I'm right, was a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Right? It was a 1-year deal. It was a prove-it year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go out and prove it, and we'll pay you.
And he really didn't have that much to prove
And
It's
either.
a
He was
360
really good.
backwards hurdle. Like,
Yeah.
I'd
I
pay
think
him-
he proved
I'd pay him
it.
45
Yeah, I
for
think he
that.
proved it by week 5 that
Yeah.
he was worthy of the extension,
Yeah.
and he got his money.
Yep.
I think-
We do have some questions coming in the comment section. So when we want to get to that, but Case, I'll let you.
We got
go ahead
one
here.
last thing to talk
Nothing.
about.
I was just gonna say in regards to Saquon Barkley, I don't think anyone ever doubted his talent.
Yeah.
It was more of his injury concerns, and just to have a fresh year with Saquon Barkley with a quarterback who is mobile like Hurts, that just absolutely shined for Philadelphia.
With an offensive line that's good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
something.
And it was the perfect place for him.
Something that I think too is, I've said it before, on the Giants he was their guy. He was the only person on that team that
He
could
was-
do anything.
He was the Giants.
He was the football team. And then he goes to Philadelphia where he's not the team. He has a serviceable quarterback. I don't really like Hurts like that, but he's not terrible.
good.
He's got 2 really good wide receivers, and you have a great O-line and a good defense. Like he was not the Philadelphia Eagles this year.
Yeah,
he was
holy-
just a
Gets
big
to run
ball,
behind
though.
Cam Jurgens.
That was
I mean, I agree,
Get out of
but
here, bro.
I think the slander for Jalen Hurts kind of needs to stop. That dude has been to 2 Super Bowls.
Coming
One
from
of
a
them.
Cowboys fan, this is
That was
interesting.
an
Can we
insane-
get a-
that
can we
is-
get a can we get a
Wow.
camera on
that was
him?
an insane.
What do you think, chat? Should we clip that one?
Yeah. I mean, yes, he has Devontae Smith. Yes, he has AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert. But ultimately,
Some
Brock
of the best
Purdy
players at
couldn't
their
do
positions.
it. I mean, Brock Purdy couldn't win a Super Bowl.
We're not comparing.
I mean,
Hurts to
it's-
Hurts is a great quarterback.
No, a couple years ago, Brock Purdy was the
Brock
most
was
talked.
nice.
People were putting Brock Purdy over
Yes.
Hurts.
Yeah.
We're not
Yes.
gonna act
I
like
just-
that's crazy.
I just don't think Brock Purdy is a
I
quarterback
agree with
name
you.
you would hold.
I agree
above
with you, but
people's heads.
before this past season, he was up there. He was in the top 10 list.
And this year, San Francisco is so beat up. I want to see a year where everyone's healthy and we'll
That's
get a real.
I feel like that's San
representation of that
Francisco.
team.
They get so much success and then they get hurt for like 3 seasons, reload with draft picks, and then just get good again.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
Pretty much, that's all of the big news specifically today. And then a lot of college basketball conference tournaments kind of coming together. We'll have a ton of college basketball news coming up. But let's touch on some of those questions.
Yeah,
All right,
so
how we got?
we'll go to George and Missy Shear first. How many games do you think the Huskers will win next year? I know they'll make it to the playoff, but how many wins do you guys think they'll have?
Or do we want to go around?
Yeah, we'll start off
No,
with.
let's start with Tyler.
Let's start off with Tyler.
Let's
Okay,
start,
Yeah,
with
start with Tyler. He's
I
going to
think-
be the optimistic one.
Let's see, real quick. Let's pull up the schedule.
All right.
Is this what we're going to do?
right,
we're
I'm
going to
taking
go
a
schedule
look
by
too.
schedule? Okay.
We're gonna go with the schedule.
All right. Yeah, we'll do like a little pick'em, quick'em pick'ems
Alright.
here.
Okay, but the rule is you can't pick more than 6 wins because they're not.
All right. Hold
Choose
on,
your
my-
6 wisely, guys.
My
Pull
schedule's
up,
not-
pulled up the schedule from this year.
Yeah, and I don't
even
like
looked up
I see it.
2020.
I
I have to
They
go to like
play
I'm going on
Cincinnati on
Huskers
August
dot com.
28th, right?
Yeah, that's at Arrowhead
Okay,
too.
do you want me to?
So,
No,
okay,
I want
that's-
Tyler's answers first.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
I was just gonna go through.
At Arrowhead Stadium, Week 1 neutral site. Cincinnati is not a bad team. I think Nebraska will get it, but I think it's a very close game. I wouldn't be surprised if we drop it, but I'm gonna give us one. I'm gonna give us a win there.
So in Nebraska culture and typical Nebraska fashion, they're going to dominate Cincinnati just so every one of their fans start to get really optimistic about the season.
They're drinking the Kool-Aid already.
They're not
already.
they won't lose that game, right?
I don't know.
But they'll
I
lose to
wouldn't be
Akron.
surprised.
No.
But they'll beat Akron. They'll beat Houston Christian. If they don't, then someone's getting
gonna
fired.
get
Okay, so we got
Stomped
3 wins.
by
We got 'em-
Michigan.
We got
we got 3 wins.
They're getting stomped by Michigan.
Smoked by
It's
Michigan.
at Memorial.
I don't care.
Michigan
I don't.
is a
know.
good team. It really just depends on what's the
they
quarterback's
did-
name now? I
Bryce
forget.
Bryce Underwood.
Bryce
They
Underwood.
just
How
put
good Bryce
$20
Underwood
million
is.
into their football program for NIL
For
because
one
they were
player.
so average this year.
For one
I agree.
player.
Like,
I'll give
they
Nebraska
beat
the
Michigan
loss
in the bowl
there,
game, too,
but
or
I'll give
game.
Nebraska the loss there, but I don't think that they're getting blown out.
I just
like
think
they did last
Michigan
time
is
they played
so
Michigan.
shaky.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And
That is such a
freshman
hard
quarterback.
game to predict. I mean,
Freshman
Rayola
quarterback
couldn't
is-
really. I mean, he had a decent season
I just
last
feel
year,
like-
but
If they make this game their Super Bowl like they made Colorado,
It might be. It is that and Penn State are like their biggest games
Yeah.
this season.
Yeah.
And then
I mean,
obviously,
obviously
there's Iowa
Iowa.
at home, but
yeah, Iowa at home will be a great game.
I'm gonna say something real quick, and I'm a pretty average Nebraska hater. Like I'm pretty out there on my Nebraska. I don't like to see Nebraska football succeed one bit. However, Dylan Raiola is special, and I'm really interested to see his progression from year 1 to year 2, because if he really is the kind of quarterback that every single Nebraska fan makes him out to be, this could be a really fun year for Nebraska football.
And I will say, Nebraska's
That's the
doing,
kindest thing I've ever said by them.
That is. You didn't see my reaction over here, but Trevor did. I was very appreciative of that.
Yeah.
Nebraska's doing a lot of like the right things off the field. It's just a matter of will it result in wins. Like they hired a GM to be
It's
able to
gotta
manage
click.
the roster and manage the funds and
Yeah,
all
but
that.
that's part of it. That's part
But
of it. It's
it
gotta
really,
click.
it just, it comes down to what happens on the field. But I'll give them a loss to Michigan. So I'll go 3 wins going into Michigan State at home. I think they beat Michigan State.
I agree.
Aiden Childs, though, he's also good. That could be
Wasn't
another
he a senior
sophomore
though,
year.
or was he a
No,
junior?
No, freshman.
He's a freshman.
True freshman.
You
So
knew
this is
that.
gonna be
You
his-
played with him in NCAA.
It was the running back that was a senior.
So this is going to be his sophomore year. So this could be another. Well, these are going to be 2 of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
By the time, I don't know if Raiola will stay until his senior year. If they do, if
I-
both quarterbacks do, this is going to be like 2 of the best quarterbacks in the sport.
Nebraska needs Raiola to be good and not be there senior year with
And so, like-
how they're recruiting quarterbacks still.
And so I can see a world where Aiden Childs and Michigan State make this game a little more competitive. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Nebraska
it is
playing a
Nebraska
close
way.
game at home is just like very on brand for them anyways. Then I think they go on the road to Maryland. Maryland was a pretty decent team this year. They were kind of middle of the pack for the Big Ten. It's just Big Ten away games. It's their first like true road test this season. I honestly
their
think
first
they
road
drop
game.
it. Yeah,
They
so
start
they
the
go
year
neutral
off
side
with
at Arrowhead,
home
which is why I'm
neutral.
saying first true.
That's a home
Yeah.
game essentially, though.
I mean, Cincinnati will have fans there though.
You know who
That
they
is
are
right,
losing to though?
Nebraska.
The Minnesota.
They are
Golden
beating
Gophers.
Minnesota for so many
No.
different reasons. Minnesota's a win.
The
Minnesota,
goal-
Minnesota
That-
does this all the
that
time.
would be. I was about to say that will be the game you drop.
You guys said
what are we
You guys
talking
said it was
about?
like a top 25 team.
You
and-
said I was crazy. You
Like,
said I
they-
was
Why are we talking about
crazy.
USC?
Well, all I'm
Because
saying
Minnesota
is,
beat
at the
USC.
time, Minnesota or USC was looked at as one of the best teams in the
Minnesota
country.
has like some sneaky
and then
little
Miller
wins.
Moss went to Minnesota.
Let me tell you,
That's
and got
at Minnesota
locked up.
too.
That's
This-
not a guaranteed
No.
it's a
easy
very
win.
it's a very personal game for Nebraska, for everyone on that roster. They don't do well at Minnesota. Rule's gonna have them fired up, and they're going against Malachi Coleman, who just transferred from Nebraska to Minnesota. They're going into Minnesota and they're winning. Then I think we can all can agree they're beating Northwestern.
Malachi Coleman.
They're beating Northwestern to go bowl eligible.
Yeah.
6 wins. I think they get right against USC. I think
Nope.
they beat USC.
Nope.
It was a very close game last year. I think rosters are at a very similar spot. So I think
Do
they
not
beat
compare
USC.
rosters from USC to Nebraska. USC is so much better than Nebraska.
It was a close game at USC last year.
Okay, then USC
And Nebraska
got
should have
better
won it.
this offseason.
So did Nebraska. Every team is supposed to
US
get better. That's the
I
whole
love the
point.
Creighton and the Husker fan arguing. This is
This
awesome.
is just. This is.
What are we
Yeah.
talking
I
about?
hate
Regardless,
this.
both teams suck.
USC
It's a home game against USC.
What are
They're
we
winning
doing?
it. 7 wins. They're beating UCLA at
They're
UCLA.
losing to Penn State and they're going to beat Iowa.
I think they honestly probably lose to Iowa. As much as it pains me to say, I don't think this is a. I don't think this is an 8 to 9 win team.
So you think
Stop
it went
making
7?
USC and Michigan your big Super Bowl games. Just beat Iowa once,
All right,
please.
Our next,
For the love of God.
our next
We just don't
question
do well
from the
against them.
pool. If you guys had one major league at bat, what are you playing as your walk-up song? Trevor Burns, kick it off.
No, I can't kick it off. Grant, you go first. I gotta think.
I got
know-
my pick.
Yeah,
Tyler, where you
Brian.
going?
So I went to a Nebraska baseball game when I was just a young child. I got to run on the
Wow.
field and do the national anthem, and it was a real great experience. One of the players playing in that game was Mojo Hagee, and his walk-up song was "Who's With Me" by Flo Rida, and I thought as a kid that was the best walk-up song I'd ever heard. So if I had one MLB at bat, that's what I would play.
Okay, in case you got yours.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Separate Ways by Journey.
That's a good one.
Fire.
That's a good one.
I'll let you go.
I'm trying to think.
Are you-
I'm on
I
the
got
playlist
mine.
right now. You know, Shout at the Devil. That could be a good one.
That's a
Get me
fire
fired up. Some rock. I don't know. Trevor, what are you thinking?
I'm kind of staying away from the rap game.
If you go
though.
I
if you go
agree.
rock, I feel like "Kickstart My Heart" would be a really.
Kickstart
Oh,
Your
that would
Heart.
be good.
I'm
I
doing.
would get
You ever heard "Song 2" by Blur? That one's fire. That's a classic dad rock
Can
song.
let's get a snippet.
song too.
We're gonna get copyrighted.
I'm kind of
Don't
surprised you
do
didn't go
that.
like Freebird, honestly. I know it's like USA Hockey, but
Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, I've definitely heard that before.
There we go.
Mine's gonna be Brain Stew by Green Day.
Good
That's
call.
fine.
Because
That's
that
fine.
was my brother's this summer, and it was so fire.
Go
We
with the
walked in.
family.
It
Yeah,
was
that's
heat.
a good
It was
one.
heat.
That's
There
a
we
good
go.
one.
I think definitely if I did have an at bat though, it would be something where I was thinking more about my song.
What are
for
you
the-
hitting? Like, what are you
Nothing.
going in a game?
Wait, what?
Oh,
Like
for-
what?
Over?
You're not touching.
like,
I'm
like
not
what are you
touching
doing?
the
Like,
ball.
Oh, I wouldn't hit a ball.
I would try to lunge in and get on base.
just like how
Actually,
you're
no,
not,
I'm
hitting
not.
just like
No,
how
I'm
you're not
not.
hitting off.
I'm not.
Those guys
into
are
that.
throwing 90 mile an hour. I'm not trying to lunge in on a baseball.
Just
All
put,
right,
put an
all
elbow.
right.
in
I would
it.
strike out for
The
sure.
next
I think it
question
would
we
break
have.
us.
The next question we have. Where do you guys think some free agent / tradable quarterbacks go? Fields, Wilson, Rogers, and Cousins.
We
Where
are
we
not
thinking they're
throwing
going?
Rodgers in that. Rodgers is done.
I don't
Rodgers
think he's.
needs
I don't
to
think he's
retire.
done. I
He's
think
going
he
to
gets
the
a
Jets.
shot.
He is finishing
Rodgers?
Brett Favre's.
Rogers?
Aaron Rodgers?
He already was at the Jets.
Or not Jets? Vikings. Vikings. Sorry.
He's not going to the Vikings.
Yes, he is.
He's not going to the Vikings.
Yes, he is.
They have a rookie
They're gonna
quarterback
get-
who you love.
and
You
they're-
love JJ
They have
McCarthy.
Daniel
Oh,
Jones
JJ
too.
And they're looking to bring
Okay.
back and
What
they're
are we
looking
doing?
to bring back
Vikings.
Do you guys?
Sam Darnold.
Do you guys
Brett
want?
Favre. He
Do
ended
you guys
his
want the
career with the
real
Vikings.
answer for
I
where
know
Aaron
that,
Rodgers is
but-
going? And I think this is a good take. He's going to the Colts.
No. Wow. Terrible take.
He's going to the Colts. The Colts love
what-
getting veteran guys. Anthony Richardson clearly needs
No,
some
if-
development years.
If
I
we're-
would not
What
want
are
to
we
learn
talking
from
about?
Rodgers.
Yeah.
Well,
No
he
offense,
needs
Aaron
he
Rodgers.
needs to not be on the field.
He's a great quarterback.
And you got Pat McAfee out there who's going to be recruiting Rodgers and getting him on the show live every Tuesday. Aaron Rodgers is going to the
Glazed.
Colts.
All right. What do we think about?
You're just.
What do we think about Wilson? I assume this is
I like his
Russell
look.
Wilson.
Russell Wilson is gonna stay in Pittsburgh.
I'm with Case on that.
That
I agree.
also though could
Don't
have
like
something
that.
to do with Zach Wilson.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Well, we can go both ways.
Well, I think Zach Wilson. I mean, he was very okay with being the backup quarterback.
Nothing
this
wrong
year.
with that. You're getting paid
And
to
he's
sit
not
on the
gonna-
He's
bench.
got the
And he's
Alex
not gonna
Moran
play
treatment.
over- And I think this year we
Good call.
proved that Bo Nix can play NFL football.
Yeah.
So he's not going to play over Nix. But Zach Wilson could actually still be very capable of playing high-level football in the right system, like we saw with Sam Darnold. But I don't know if he even wants to do that because being an NFL backup would be literally my dream job.
Yeah, 100%.
So, what else? Who else we have on there? Kirk
Fields.
But Fields, I think Fields has the he was fine on Chicago. He looked good for the Steelers. I think he has a reasonable chance of let's say he does try to test out see what teams want him or what teams need a quarterback. He could easily go pretty much anywhere. I feel like I don't think there's a destination.
I slightly disagree.
So what do you think?
I wasn't too impressed with Justin Fields in Pittsburgh. I think he did fine at best. I wouldn't necessarily say good though.
Did Justin Fields
Um,
lose a game as a starter in Pittsburgh this year? I don't think he did.
I think he lost one.
And then they benched him right after.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
what it was.
Yeah.
But overall, I kind of see him going to a spot like Vegas where they have the 6th pick. And what are you nodding your head for? What are we talking?
Why would
Why would he
Vegas
go
not
to
get a
Vegas?
quarterback?
Well, they could be in a position where both quarterbacks are off the board.
That's my point. They have the 6th overall pick.
Let's be
There's-
real.
there ain't-
and we'll talk
there's
about the
no
NFL
quarterback.
draft
Exactly.
later. This
Exactly.
quarterback draft
That's not a
draft
crazy
class,
comment.
This quarterback draft class consists of Shador Sanders and
Cam Ward.
Cam Ward.
Yeah.
and those guys are probably.
But if you get a quarterback in
Is
the later
yours- is
yours,
yours
you
staying or
might
is
you
yours-
like you
Yours
can
is
get
gone, but he's gonna go in the second
like
round.
it's one of those
not there,
things
I
where
think.
those quarterbacks.
you can get a
let's be
guy in
real,
the later
last year-
rounds though and just kind of hope.
Well, you can hope, but
Here's
hope doesn't-
exactly
kind
what
of
is
what you're
gonna
doing
happen.
there too though.
They're gonna take McMillan with their 6th pick, and then they're gonna trade for Fields, and he's going to Vegas.
McMillan's not going.
There's
to the
there's a
Jaguars.
world where that happens.
I don't care what
but
the
all
Jaguars
I'm
do.
saying
We'll get to
is
that later.
in last year's draft
think-
class, Shador Sanders and Cam Ward are quarterbacks 7 and 8
I hate
probably.
Shador.
Like in the entire class, they're probably the 7th and 8th best
Yeah.
quarterbacks
Can
in that
we
entire class.
can we take a second to talk about how Shador and Cam Ward are just talking mad crap to each other in all these quarterback drills? And
No, I don't. I
Stupid.
could care less.
Yeah.
I could but I could see the Raiders or just teams outside of the top quarterback conversation waiting until the second round to get a guy like Will Howard or someone like that who can manage an
Or
offense.
Jackson Dart, who should be.
Jackson
he's
Dart,
not a first round
Riley
talent.
Riley Leonard for that matter
Is
could
Jalen
manage
Milroe
an offense
in the draft?
Yeah,
Milroe in the draft.
Yeah, Milroe is kind of low first round though.
Mil-
Mid first round is.
Milroe's more of a project guy, but he's
Yeah.
older.
There's two first
You
round
gotta work on
quarterbacks
it.
in this entire draft class, and it's Ward and it's Shador.
It is.
And neither of them should be first round guys, but because of how football works, those guys are going to be first round
I
talent.
think I think Ward is a really good pure passer.
I disagree. I
No,
don't. I
the most
disagree.
accurate, the best passer in the draft is Shador.
Yeah.
He's the most accurate. He doesn't have
That's
the
a
biggest
check
arm.
down merchant.
Cam
yeah.
Ward has the biggest arm, but he's the most accurate. In the NFL, you need someone who's going to throw.
I'm
it
just
on time.
saying, you got to watch Cam Ward
Cam
at
Ward's-
Washington State.
Cam
2
Ward
years
has the
ago.
potential
He
to
was
be the
doing
best in the
crazy
entire draft.
things with the ball.
And
All
Jackson Darts, I think, is pretty good, and Milroe's got a.
Jackson Dart's
pretty-
draft stock after that Kentucky bowl game.
And I think Milroe's he has some potential and could be the best if he's in the right system. It
He
all depends on
definitely-
fit.
Bowl game, not
It all
Now,
depends on.
I think he
fit.
definitely has the most potential.
Yeah.
Before we get too carried away on draft talk, let's keep the questions going. We have, what is KU's football record going to be next year?
Wait,
here's what we're
before
gonna
that, we left Kirk Cousins off the board.
do. Okay, where do we think Kirk Cousins is going? He's
Minnesota, buddy.
I think he's done.
I kind of think.
I can see a world where he hangs it up.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
think he's
surprised.
done.
I think he's done too.
All right.
Truthfully.
Okay, so for the KU football record, we are going to do a old quick and pick'ems. It is just yes or no. If
All
we
right.
win, all right,
I have the schedule pulled up, so do you want me to go?
go for it.
All right. We start off the year, Fresno State, week 0, I believe.
Win.
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 Okay.
All right. Wagner,
Win.
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 I am so excited for this next game. So
At
excited.
Missouri.
We better beat the brakes off of that team. I don't think we will. I think it'll be close. I could see us dropping this game, but this is the first time they've played since what, 2008?
I think.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it was the orange.
It's been a while.
And the thing is,
win or
too,
lose,
no,
guys?
it wasn't the Orange Bowl. We played it.
No, we
played
have a
in
terrible
Arrowhead.
record in football against Missouri.
Yeah, I think that not only does Lance have a general understanding of how much that game means, I think Lance is a guy who will go into this thinking, there is no losing this game. Like, losing isn't in the vocabulary going into that.
It might
I
not
hope-
be in the
I hope-
vocabulary,
yeah,
but
what's your
it's
pick?
gonna
I'm
happen.
going-
I'm going Missouri.
You're going Missouri?
I'm going Missouri. I think we're gonna lose, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
got
never
me
going to
hyped
bet
up.
on a KU team to win on the road, so I'm going to go with Missouri.
So I'm kind of taking a look at this game and realizing what Missouri is losing. They're losing a lot of good guys from this
They
draft.
are. They are.
They are losing their quarterback,
Their transfer portal.
their
class is
best
the
receiver
in the
that
whole
they've
country.
had in
Yes.
years.
That's the thing that
They did lose
stood
the
out
best
to me.
edge rusher in Nebraska.
So I think
They're having him go at 5. I've seen him at 5 at the Jaguars.
Okay.
Luther Burden.
No, not
Case,
Luther
just
Burns,
Case, keep
the
going. We're
edge
Edmo.
rusher.
I was
He's a
talking about
Win.
Williams
Or
Nwaneri.
I think KU wins.
Give me KU too.
Yeah, they're gonna lose.
Yeah.
And Trevor hyped me up saying Lance Leipold's gonna.
Yeah, that was
know
a
this
crazy
must-win
swerve.
game, but
I think that's what's gonna happen, but
All right.
but like
we're not.
you can pray all you want, buddy. It's not gonna happen.
Back on track here, West Virginia at New Booth.
Oh, we're winning that game.
I think we're going to win as well.
Win.
So we have 4.
Win.
Win.
Yes, we are at 4-1 right now, hosting Cincinnati.
Win.
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 Cincinnati.
different.
Give me a win.
Yeah, win.
5
All
and
right,
1.
then we go at UCF.
Yeah, we're winning that game.
I don't think we'd win that game. I think UCF is going to be pretty
good?
I think they're going to be decent.
Like we'll know a lot more.
Well, they
about
have
Big 12.
is KJ Jefferson still going to be there? Or?
Probably
Isn't that the former
not.
Arkansas quarterback?
Yeah, but I mean, that dude has been playing for 7 years. It feels like
He was at Texas State for a little bit.
He was at Arkansas.
Yeah, but he was at Texas State too for a little bit, I think. Because he was almost going to come to Nebraska.
Okay, well, I don't know. What do you guys think? Win or lose?
I said loss at UCF.
I said win.
That's Scott Frost coach UCF. Right?
That is
got
a Scott
win.
Frost coach UCF team.
Win.
No, we'll
Give me a
win.
win.
We'll win that game.
Yep. So we have 6
I
and
low
1.
key
You have
forgot
what?
Scott
6
Frost
and
is
1.
there.
6 and 1 is.
Here's a
kinda
game
crazy.
where
We know that's not
I
gonna
think we
happen,
lose.
No.
It's at Texas Tech, who
Yeah, lose. We're
are
gonna
spending
losing.
big
Yeah.
money in the portal.
Yes,
Skip
I
that.
agree.
We're losing that. So what? 6
Yep.
and 2 now.
Yep. Now we have the Sunflower Showdown
Win.
at home,
Win.
New Booth against
Win.
K-State.
Win.
New
Win.
booth,
Win.
new year.
Win.
This game only gets more and more significant every single year. Obviously, it's a rivalry, but now it's just like earlier we were like, oh, we
We're
gotta
not
beat
gonna
them
beat
one
Kansas
time
State
at
while
Old
we're
Booth.
here.
Oh, we
What
gotta
have they
end
done?
it this year.
We're not going to beat Kansas
They
State.
haven't done anything.
They're
They
just
can't even
better
get
than
in-state
us.
talent
They're just
anymore.
historically better than
Okay.
us.
Well, it's
Historically
not
just-
like we're gonna ignore that they got 5-star tight end Lincoln Cure going.
Lincoln
there.
Cure.
Lincoln Cure is great and all.
I don't think
just-
Lincoln
we're-
Cure
we're
plays
winning
too
that
much
game.
this season. He's just not.
No, we're not.
He's not the D1 football
I
guy.
hope- I hope
Oklahoma
to
State.
be
I got to win on that.
I have a win against K-State at home.
Win against K-State.
So then we'll
win
probably lose Oklahoma State. We don't
Gotta
win
win.
both of them.
We'll be Oklahoma State. They
I
lost.
think we lose the
They're
next
losing
two,
Ollie
though.
Gordon. They don't really have anyone.
They played awful last
Okay.
year too.
I think we
give us
lose.
that
And it's
one.
at home.
I
And
give
then we
us-
go, and then we fine. I'll give you Oklahoma State, but then we lose 2 straight.
I think we lose Arizona
State.
and Iowa State.
I'll give you that.
Yeah,
I'm
I
with
give
that,
you
too.
second that.
And then we're
Utah.
home against Utah.
Domination.
We beat the
Cam
Lord
Rising
South
isn't
Utah.
using his like 9th year, right?
I thought he
probably.
I think he's still waiting to hear
Oh my
about it.
gosh! No, he heard back. They granted it to him, but I thought I heard something saying that he was just gonna move on.
He should, but who knows?
I don't know.
So what are we at?
That's
then?
such a weird game.
What's that?
I think
what's
So
that
we
point?
went
losses?
1, 2, 3, 4.
The last thing
I
I,
said
heard
5,
about
6, 7
Cam Rising
wins.
is he's still trying to play college football.
Interesting.
So we're between like 7 and 8 wins between all of us here.
Okay, let's.
Kenna has us, I think, at 6.
I
when we was
really
talking.
like that, but let's be real. That's not gonna happen, right? We all know we're gonna be.
we said
either
the same
500
thing
or
about
below.
KU basketball. Like
And
just
speaking of KU basketball, our next question: why does KU basketball stink? One
Man,
of
what
the
is-
so-called best rosters entering the season and is now just crap.
it's not a team.
There's
We
a
don't- we
lot
don't
of
have a
things we
team.
could say,
We don't.
but I think the thing that
Let's all pick one issue real quick. We'll start with Jack Kenna.
There's a lot of issues with this Kansas
Pick
team.
pick your biggest issue.
Other than just like effort.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like there's a lot of people
Like,
who
if you-
don't really care about playing for Kansas. But
So
also,
yeah, if
like,
you could change one thing.
there's a
to,
lot
like,
of
fix-
non-shooters on the court, and I'm
Yeah.
a big believer in everyone has to have a identity. You have to have a role, and if you're not gonna play your role, then the whole team is not gonna work and not gonna mesh very well together.
Yeah.
And we've seen some highlights with this Kansas team. Like, this Kansas team is talented. They have the most talent out of any team in the country. They're not putting it together, and that's got to do with roles not being defined, not meeting expectations, and a lot of
I
other.
have a question for us after we're done with this too. So
Okay.
don't
Okay.
let me forget.
I'm
that.
gonna say the biggest reason is chemistry. I don't think these players are meshing very well. I think Bill Self went out and was like, "Hey, I got to get a ton of people in the transfer portal," and he did. He did a really good job of that, bringing new people in. But the thing with Kansas basketball is, you look back at our national championship. We had guys that were in there 3-4 years. They weren't highly recruited. They came in, they stayed in the Bill Self system, and then finally, when they were seniors, they were able to do that. And yeah, they did have help by some NBA guys. They had like Grady Dix, they had Ochais, they had Christian Browns. We don't have an NBA guy on the team this year, and there's no chemistry. So I think that's the biggest reason why we just can't do anything.
Yeah, and to kind of tail off of Grant, my biggest question: who is the leader of this KU team? And the answer is we don't have one. Everyone with NIL and everything wants to be the
I feel like we
superstar.
have.
You know, no, you know who
Who is
our
the
two
leader?
leaders? You know who our two leaders are? Omarco
and Jamari.
and Jamari, and they don't play because
Diggy
they're
cares
hurt.
a lot. too.
Diggy
cares a
But
lot.
the problem is,
Our leaders should be
Dewan,
Dewan. They've been here
Hunter.
for 6
Dewan,
years.
KJ, and Hunter. Those should be the big three leaders, and none of them are.
Every KU team that I've watched in my 14 years of watching KU basketball, there has been a leader on the team. It was Kevin. It was Jalen. It was Ochai. It was Frank Mason. It was Devontae Graham. It was KJ Lawson. It was Udoka Azubuike.
Yeah,
Grady Dick was not a leader. He was a freshman. But my point being is I just don't see a guy like that. There's not a voice of the locker
we don't
room.
see one because we don't have one.
Exactly. So that's kind of my point. Go
All right,
ahead,
so Tyler,
Tyler.
what's yours?
My biggest issue with the team, I guess, just kind of on your guys' track, is we're just not blending. Like, we're not playing very complimentary basketball. I feel like a lot of the time they're just forcing plays. They try and get the ball inside to Hunter a lot, which they should. Hunter's really good at
He's been
finishing
the
at the
best player
rim.
on the team so far this
But
year.
if you make it too predictable, what teams have done is they just sink down the paint.
that's how
The spacing
Creighton
is
beat
also
them.
a big issue.
They
And
force
we can't
those
hold the
guys to
ball.
shoot.
And that's the thing,
Make
yeah.
shots.
I mean, I
Which is
kinda
how
agree.
every team should play against Kansas.
Yes.
Let them try to make shots.
Because we can't. We don't really have a 3-point shooter. I mean, Diggy's been
It's
great down
Rylan
the stretch.
Griffin.
It's Rylan
Rylan's hit a
Griffin or
couple.
Diggy every other night.
Zeke can't play on the
can't
road.
play on the road. Like they're like we talked about earlier. There's so many. The one that stands out to me majorly though is there's no leadership. Like it's kind of all of what we just said. No leadership and no team chemistry are things that you just need to have if you want to win a basketball game. And we haven't had any of that. I don't know how in the world we beat Duke at the start of the year. No idea.
You know
Zero
why?
clue.
You know why?
Without
You know why we
Hunter,
beat?
too.
You know why we beat?
Without
Duke?
Hunter.
Because we had a fire. Like we were good, right? We thought we were good. As soon as we got punched in the mouth, this team dropped. This team is the most like I've never seen a. I'm gonna call them professional.
Well, they're getting paid.
I've never
so.
seen a professional team give up so fast after something goes wrong. Like that stuff you see in like middle school sports. Like
Can we say that the Creighton Blue Jays broke Kansas?
Yeah, okay, buddy. You just transfer already.
Yeah,
Wow. I don't know. I just think we could talk.
I feel like
could talk
that
about Kansas.
Houston game is when I felt like we
yeah.
really broke.
The Houston game
in
is
Missouri,
when like
that's
no,
a pretty
but
bad
see at
loss.
least that was like in
Missouri-
the start of the season. Houston was a game that we had locked down. Like that game was over, and then somehow they clawed their way back. After that, I mean, I watched the game with you guys, or
We
you
just
guys besides
didn't
Kenna. I mean,
care.
I don't think what did we watch? Like we actually watched maybe 5 minutes of that game. The other 5 we were just kind of peeking at the score, talking with each other.
The Houston game?
No, the Houston game. Sorry,
second
the
Houston
second Houston game. Like I wasn't watching it at all. I didn't care.
We played basketball on our 9-foot basketball hoop.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
All right,
It's
so
just
now
ridiculous.
Tyler, what's the question you were gonna ask?
So, Kansas, a lot this year built through the portal and kind of preferred guys in the portal with experience over some of the incoming freshmen. I really look at Liam McNeely. What do you guys think about that? Do you think that was probably the right call, or do you think like building through the portal is the right call, or do you think like we should have preferred those freshmen?
You need to have a good mix of both. It would have been a lot different. I think all of our answers would have been different if it worked. If
I
Kansas
think-
was
yeah.
clearly the best team in the country,
I
you're
think
like, wow.
For me, the past 2 seasons have kind of showed to me like I don't think Bill really builds well through the portal. I think Bill's
He
like,
develops it.
yeah, that's what
recruiter,
he is. He's a recruiter. He develops, and that's how a team. That's how
Well,
his
that's how you
teams play
get
well.
players who really care.
Who
It's
care
also
about
hard.
playing
It's
for the
also
name,
hard to
yes.
retain those players now, though, when they can just transfer out and
Really
play
is.
that next season.
Yeah,
You
but
used to have the gap.
You've heard the big time coaches like Rick Pitino pretty much
The
say, "I'm not
Godfather.
recruiting freshmen.
Yeah.
I need guys who can come in and win right away," that's one heck of a way to play it.
Did it not work?
It's working.
Yeah.
They're doing a good
He's
job.
the 6th seed.
Yes.
St.
But, like,
John's is a 6th
is?
seed.
And they
that's a good-
beat-
They're not a 6th
That's a
seed,
good
excuse
point.
me. 6 overall.
Yeah,
They're going to be a
and,
2nd seed.
Like UConn didn't give him any trouble at all this year, either time, in my opinion. Like UConn is a back-to-back national champion. Not even a year ago, and St. John's is just running through him. I mean, UConn's also
it's one of
not
those
good.
things that you're just like, if you can do it well,
That's,
it works.
That's a very fair point.
So
I wasn't-
if this worked, right? If AJ Storr was a 15-point per
Green,
game guy,
yeah.
if Griffin wasn't missing shots, Zeke Mayo turned out to be everything people said he was. We're looking at this saying, wow, this portal thing's awesome.
Yeah.
I was gonna say kick butt. But like this portal thing rocks, and it just hasn't gone that way. So I feel like
It's been tough.
it works if it's good.
All right, our last question, at least for the moment, we can check back towards the end of the stream. Would we, as KU fans, if KU was to leave the Big 12, I'm gonna change the question a little bit. It was, would you jump at the chance to move to the Big 10 or stay in the Big 12? What would we prefer?
Like, move.
Jump? Yeah.
Money.
Yeah.
I
So
feel like that's the
let's
obvious. But
let's
then it
take
gets really
that. Let's
boring
take
with only
that.
a few conferences. So
Let's
it's like,
take that.
top of
Would you go Big 10 or SEC if KU was offered?
SEC.
I think
SEC.
That's
That's because
not-
of
that's-
our
that's not a
rivalries
question.
with Missouri and our rivalries with
I-
Texas.
I'll give you
That's
that.
what
But
I was
on the
gonna-
flip
yeah.
side, KU could be more competitive in
Nebraska.
football with Big 10 scheduling. They could be elite with basketball and help build up the Big 10 basketball. Because you have UCLA in there who could end up being good one day. You have USC in there. And then obviously you have Michigan State.
Yeah.
And you're making more money with the revenue share with
All
the
right, so
Big
the
10.
question we're gonna ask is,
agree.
Trevor, would you move? It doesn't
Yeah.
have to say which.
Yeah,
would you
I'd move.
Okay, Tyler.
Which one?
SEC or
Yeah.
Big 10?
Oh, I didn't think I did. I would probably go Big 10. I just think it's more. I'm a big believer in a conference should be a conference and not just
Yeah.
a scattered group of
Yeah.
teams.
As a fan, I would rather see KU in the SEC, but if I was Travis Goff, Big 10 makes
Yes,
more sense to
I
me.
agree.
If I had to move, I wouldn't want to move. As a
Okay.
fan, I would not want to see KU moved. If I'm thinking from Travis Goff's perspective, I would want to see them go to the SEC to rekindle that rivalry with Mizzou, because we would be leaving K-State.
There's a rivalry there too with Arkansas now.
Arkansas,
So-
Texas, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
I would.
I agree with that too. And one thing I wasn't thinking about earlier is the SEC is going to be more. They're going to be getting a new revenue deal before Big Ten teams do. And so KU, if they were to leave right now, like today, wouldn't be getting a full revenue share, and so the media deal coming sooner would give them that.
I just think the
revenue
only
deal.
issue with the SEC though is we turn into like a Vanderbilt in football.
But the only problem is you would for a little bit.
has never cared about football.
Vanderbilt is
Vanderbilt-
trashing
in
all
recent-
sports
Vanderbilt
other
is
than-
held back
hold
by their
on.
academic standards.
I don't disagree with that, but hold on. The reason that I say that is we care now. Like football, we care now. Or do we not?
Would you-
I'm so excited for this football season. I'm
Okay.
so excited.
I'm not.
Really?
No, who are we throwing the ball to?
Keaton, Quebeca.
We got a lot of good running backs.
All
Though.
I'm
I
saying
like
is-
route running.
All I'm
man.
saying is, yeah, we might not be the greatest SEC football school, but
Do you think we can hang in the SEC this year? I think
in our
I
lifetime
think we're
we've
trash this year.
We've never
With
been
basketball?
Yes.
Yes.
We have absolutely
SEC
never
is
We
cared
would
cared
have
about
the
football
same
that
year
much.
this year if we were in the
Whoa,
SEC.
whoa, whoa! Are we
than as we are
talking?
now.
Okay, are we
With an
just talking
SEC
about sports overall? Or are we talking specifically about basketball? Specifically about
Let's
football?
do sports overall.
I was just saying sports overall. I just
Sports-
think we get run.
In basketball or football? What do you?
Both, honestly.
Well,
the way
terrible
the
take.
SEC looks.
Awful
Maybe
take,
this
in
year,
my
That's what I'm
but
saying. This year,
historically, we would.
if we're talking
respectfully
if we're
disagree.
talking
Some of the best of the
historically,
best in the SEC
if we're
basketball.
talking historically,
And
we
we
would
making
dominate.
a lot of
if
money.
we're talking this year and the year past, we have a worse record.
Just
in
Football,
in the
we get
SEC.
run through. I think basketball, it's very hard for me to say that we would get absolutely dismantled in the SEC.
Really?
The Big 12 has been undoubtedly in the past decade the best
If we're talking
basketball.
historically, I thoroughly agree. But if we're talking these past 2 years, I just don't know how you can make a case.
I will tell you
Oh, thank
exactly
God.
how you can make a case. You go to the SEC, instantly you are getting so much more money than you would ever make in the Big 12. That is going to attract people.
We're not
let's-
talking
But
about
what has
money.
the SEC
No, but
done in
no,
the
but
NCAA tournament
just-
is what I ask.
Alabama's made it to a Elite Eight and a Final Four back to back.
Yeah, but have they won anything?
We didn't even make it past the round of 32.
I mean,
We have a
let's
championship
be honest.
in
The Big
22.
East.
Trevor's
won
making
last
an
2
argument
years.
for us not
I'm
to
saying-
get in a bid to
The
either
Big
of these
Ten. Well, the Big
conferences.
Ten basketball hasn't won a national championship in 20 years.
Yeah. that's
So
a
like,
fair-
if we really want to make this
Well,
argument,
no, I don't. I think money does matter because let me finish what I was going to say. You go to the SEC, you get triple the amount of money we're getting. That's going to attract recruits. Yeah, we might go into the SEC and we might have 5 years where we are terrible. We're terrible at football. I think we'll hold our own in basketball, but people are going to see, okay, like Kansas, like Vanderbilt basketball this year, they're doing fine. They're having a really good year in the SEC. You get money eventually with time. I think our football team would rise up. I'm not going to say
I don't
in a few
disagree.
years.
Like
Look at Texas. They went to the SEC and they dominated.
If we're talking long term, all that I was saying is these past 2 years, we would have a way worse record, in my opinion, in the SEC than we would have in the Big 12.
that's fine.
That's my
I agree
It's
with
a
that.
fair. It's a fair thing. To
That's
say.
all I was saying. Long term, yes, I think we hold our own. I don't know. The SEC just seems to keep getting better at everything, and it kind of pisses me off because I'm not a big SEC guy. But
I would
with
rather
you.
go to the SEC because I would rather see us beat up on our rivals,
yeah,
Missouri, Oklahoma.
would you be fine
I
with losing
care-
the K-State rivalry for it to turn into more of a Mizzou
I think you
type
could
of
play
game?
him in a
yes.
non-conference thing.
I would
though, and
still
just
want
keep
to
it
play them in the
protected.
non-con.
Mizzou is our
Okay.
biggest rival. Like K-State, yes, is our
I
rival.
absolutely agree
Mizzou
with
is
that.
our
I'm
biggest
just saying,
rival.
I love watching
So-
an in-state rivalry
I
game.
think we all made good points. Let's come back
Yeah.
to those comments later.
Yes, keep
We, have
commenting,
we,
guys.
we do have a show ahead. We'll speed this thing up because my head's hurting. Let's talk about college basketball. Top seeds in the tournament. March is right around the corner. Auburn, Duke look like the clear number 1, number 2 team in the sport. And then Houston, I think, has made a very good claim to be number 3.
I think you can throw Bama in there too. in
And
my
then you
opinion.
got a bunch of teams
Bama's
who
got to be
are
after Tennessee.
you got a bunch
Yeah.
of teams
Ugh.
who are questionably competing for that spot, and they're all in the SEC with Tennessee, Florida, Bama. What are your guys' thoughts?
I'll let you take it away.
I think the SEC is just a toss up. I mean, not the actual conference, obviously, but like who gets that last spot out of all those SEC teams? I'd be happy if it was any one of them. Honestly, I don't really have. There's not one that sticks out to me. I think they're all pretty even and kind of the same in my eyes. I mean, I know Case probably would disagree with me on that.
No, I actually completely agree with you.
That's
I think
surprising.
That is surprising.
I think it could come down to either Tennessee, Bama, or Florida. I think ultimately that 1 seed is going to go to Florida. I just think Walter Clayton and the guards that they have built around them, even with Olivier Rowe getting injured, I think I just see that team being so strong on the offensive end, and I don't know. I think honestly, the biggest thing is it's going to be a toss up in my eyes.
I don't have much to say about it, and
I mean-
I was gonna just leave it at a lot of good teams in college basketball. So you guys
I
can say
just-
anything you need.
I mean, it's jumping the gun, but I just want to see one of those, like, it's hard to say under the radar teams when it's the SEC and they're like top 10, but like they're like the third or
Someone
fourth
you're not
best
thinking
SEC
that's
team.
gonna definitely.
But I want to see one of those teams emerge in the SEC tournament, kind of like NC State did last year in the ACC tournament. I just want to see them get hot and make a deep run into March.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Even though they're an SEC team, like I could root for them.
Okay,
And I
real
really,
quick.
I want that to be Florida.
Are you
even
guys
though-
upset? Are you guys fans of upsets in March Madness? Because I'm
Yes.
not. I'm not.
Really?
I want
Really?
to see
That's
come
a-
the Final
that's an
Four.
awful take.
I want to see the best teams play. I would
Well,
rather see.
it's the best team if they made
Duke.
it to the Final Four.
Absolutely not.
You know what, Jack?
March is so fluky. I would rather see Auburn, Duke, Tennessee, Florida, or Houston in there. I'd rather see those four teams.
You don't love
compete.
seeing a St. Peter's in there?
I'm gonna
Absolutely
be honest.
not.
That's
I
a
kind
really
of agree.
hot take.
I kind of agree with that purely because, yeah, it
I'm a
would be
basketball
fun.
fan.
It
I
would
wanna
be
see good
It would be
basketball.
super fun to see a St. Peter's team have a few games where they're winning, but then if you get into like a national championship and it's the final score is
I mean, I
like
guess NC
101 to like
So-
70, it's like
so would
I'd
you
wanna see
be-
those two like top dogs. Go
Would
at
you
it.
be a proponent of them lowering the amount of teams in March Madness and doing it by series, like
Absolutely
best of
not.
three series?
Absolutely
Nope.
not.
Okay.
Because I like the upsets in the early rounds. But what I'm saying is,
You
the
want
Final
those-
Four that we saw of San Diego State, FAU,
That was
Thank
That
you.
was a fluke. That was a
Thank you.
fluke.
that sucked.
Great take.
That was
That
a
was
fluke.
great
That
take.
That was a
sucked.
I thought that was pretty fire. Those games were terrible.
I
but
thought
it
that was
so-
terrible.
it
as
was
well.
I
so
couldn't.
cool
I
to
was
see.
picking my eyeballs out watching
Yeah,
those games.
alright, that's
they were
fair.
terrible. They were not enjoyable. I didn't watch the Final Four.
So your argument is you just don't want. You love a good upset, but you
I
don't
love a
like
good
seeing
upset,
them go
but
far.
I want to see the top dogs competing towards. The
I
end.
like
don't
that
think that's
one
crazy.
team. I like that one
Okay,
team.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
I think
That's a good
to
take.
Kenna's credit, we see that more in the women's basketball tournament, and that's why the viewership in the Sweet 16, Elite 8, like in the later rounds, are
Good
all
point.
higher for the
That's
women's
fair.
than they were for the men's last year. Especially watching Caitlin Clark,
The
Paige
Final
That
Beckers,
was
in
sick.
South Carolina.
The Final
was
Four game between FAU and San Diego State, phenomenal game by the way. Like that ended on a game winner.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But like those teams, oh my gosh, nobody was watching.
Yeah, like San Diego State is just I don't even know. Like that's just to me a hard team to root for
And like
because I
no,
don't
and
know.
I know San Diego State beat Creighton that year in the Elite Eight. So like obviously I would watch that game. I would watch that game if Creighton was playing. But come on, nobody except Jack Kenna and Creighton fans went to see Creighton FAU anyways. Like they were a 6 seed.
Well, and I think to your point too, like especially that year when we got into the Elite Eight, I felt like everyone kind of knew that UConn was gonna run away.
yeah,
Oh, they were
That-
beating everybody
like
by
they were
20.
100%.
hot. Like that might have been one of the best teams I've seen in
Ever.
Yeah.
I agree.
But just and whenever those teams that aren't as good start winning more and more, it like UConn did a great job of just beating down on those teams.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
They
I-
do exactly what Kansas can't do.
Yeah.
Kansas plays down to they will play to their opponent's level, and that's like fine when you're going up against a Duke and it's a good game. But then when you're struggling against some nobody, it's just hard to watch.
Let's talk about some bubble teams real quick.
I don't know. Is
Because-
Nebraska even a bubble team? According to Trevor Burns, they're not.
Nah, I'm just
Yeah.
like rage baiting you. Yeah, they're a bubble team. I
All
think
right.
they got real.
Yeah.
A
They're,
real chance
I
of
don't think
making
they're
it.
gonna make the tournament.
I don't think they are either.
I don't
think
think
they
You
have
got
a
your
chance.
team. You got your team.
Yeah.
You got your team. You got your team.
Okay, real quick, who's starting with the Nebraska Huskers?
I wrote it, but
Okay, I just got a
Tyler's the
question for you
fan.
real quick. We have a question from the chat. Nebraska versus Ohio State tonight. What's going to happen?
I don't think Nebraska wins the game.
Nope.
No.
But that's because it's in Columbus.
Yep.
Nebraska is, what I will say is Nebraska is so hit or miss. Their non-con schedule is horrible. They don't challenge themselves in the non-con. And that's why, I mean, they did beat Creighton. But obviously Creighton hasn't had necessarily the year that they were supposed to have because they were looked at as, what, a top 15 team
Yeah.
to start the year? And obviously a lot of injuries have to do with that. And
I just can't help but
Bad roster
think that if
construction.
Rank Mast was on the team this year for
awesome.
Nebraska,
He's awesome.
paired with
Bryce
Williams, they would be in a much better spot right now.
Well, that's a
and
tournament team,
potentially,
just with Bryce Williams and Rink Mass.
yes, but I'm saying potentially competing for a Big Ten tournament, not the conference, but I think they could make a run in the Big Ten tournament.
They
if
have
get
some
ranked
great
matched.
wins. They have some
They're
terrible
really
losses.
dependent on
Bryce Williams.
Bryce
showing
Williams
up.
and then Connor Essegian. And
Yeah.
if Essegian's having a bad night and Jawan Gary's having a bad night, they're not winning games.
They play down to their team level, their opponent's level as well. They're not necessarily a very good team this year.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to be in the future years. I was a pretty big proponent on Nebraska taking a step backwards, and then they got really hot, and were looking like a clear tournament team as like a 7 seed, and then they kind of fell off the radar. Had some good wins down the stretch, but they're not a tournament team this year.
I mean, they almost lost to Northwestern. They had
They had
one of
to
the
come back
worst
by
first
20. They had
halves.
to come back by
yeah.
20.
And
Their
it took
past few
Fred
games, it's
Hoiberg
been
break,
bad.
like punching some
Yeah,
whiteboard or
whiteboard.
something. I don't think Nebraska has what it takes to make the tournament this year.
Nope.
And if they get in, I will not be getting my hopes up for that tournament win because they will be such a
Who
low
wrote
seed.
North Carolina stinks?
That was you.
I wrote that they suck. Yeah.
Oh, okay. They do.
Okay, so
They are also not a tournament team.
Who's
got it.
talking North Carolina?
You got it.
That was me? I thought I was Texas.
Well,
Alright,
you
got-
can be
Texas is in.
Well, we could just
Oh.
highlight
I am
them.
Texas.
Did you write that?
I got Arkansas, but I'll kind of just
Alright,
talk
touch
about
on
it a
North
little bit.
Carolina.
They gave their coach an extension. I don't know
What?
I don't know what they were on
What
when
are-
they did that, but
Is Duke North Carolina this week? What day?
Yeah.
Saturday.
Did
Yeah.
you not watch?
Duke will win by 40.
Yeah.
Duke will win
Are
by
they
They'll win
in
by
Cameron
50.
Indoor?
Actually, I think it was
it's,
Demon Coin.
it's in Chapel Hill. And
Okay,
Duke
I've
will
got,
still
I've got
win
a
by
question
40.
for you guys.
Yeah.
Is Cooper Flag coming back next year?
No.
Hell no.
Dude, it scares me that
But
he
it would
said he's
be-
thinking about it.
It would be
but-
kind of awesome.
Of course,
if
he
did.
said he's thinking
Absolutely
about it.
not.
I
But
need the
let's say
Raptors
he
to get
tears
him.
his
I need the
ACL
Raptors
in the
to
middle
get
of the
him.
season.
I don't think it matters too much.
I absolutely. Yeah. It's,
The Hospital
It is
Mavericks are
Cooper
going to drop
Flag,
every game.
right? That's crazy.
All right. Anyways.
Moving on to Indiana.
It's a lot. Yeah, this is. I mean, they're a last 4 bye team. I don't know how they managed to do that. I mean, Mike Woodson has. I don't know what he's done in that locker room. He went from literally. He is fired at the end.
He
of
has
the
no
season.
job.
He has no job at the end of the season, and they somehow are winning games. I mean, they beat Purdue. That's kind of a given because they always split every year. But still,
Did
like
they split last year?
they
don't-
might actually not have split last
But
year.
they
but they split
swept.
often.
They swept the year
They
before that
with
I
Trace
think.
Jackson Davis. Yeah, but that's in the past. Now I think I'm stunned, but I think they absolutely make the tournament as a first 4 bye, which is stunning to me.
I think they make it, and I actually think that their roster is also one of the best in college basketball.
I
And they
agree.
could have had
They've got-
Liam
they've got
McNeely.
depth.
Like they have a decent roster.
Goody is tough, man.
And
he
I'm-
can hit. He is so nice.
I could see a world where Indiana wins a game or two.
I was
Like,
gonna say,
that's
I
insane.
think
With
if
the
you
fire
see
coach,
if you
isn't that
see
crazy?
Indiana in the tournament in March, it's
Ugh.
hard to bet against
What is
them.
the what's the word for a president who knows he's not going to win?
Impeached.
Lame duck.
Yeah, lame
A
duck.
lame duck president. They have a lame duck head coach.
Isn't it a sitting
Yeah.
duck?
It's,
No, I think
No,
it's a lame duck.
duck. Yeah.
You're a lame duck.
It's
Wow.
it's insane to me that they're that
Yeah,
they're
final
in a
period of office.
yeah in a first 4
Lame?
in
So
a
they
first
don't do it.
Like he
in a
knows
bye.
he doesn't have a job next year and they're winning games. Is it because he knows like he doesn't care and he's just like go have fun?
I think it's more the mentality.
Like,
that
what?
I think it's more the mentality that the players. All the players love him. He's a great locker room guy. Apparently, they all
Sure.
really get around him. So knowing that he's gone at the end of the season, why wouldn't you play for him? You got nothing to lose.
you really do have
Like,
nothing to
you
lose.
don't know
Playing
if you'll
for
have your-
NIL at that point.
yeah, you don't know if you'll have a spot on the team next year.
Let's
You're just
talk
going out and just
Arkansas
going.
basketball.
Yeah, when it comes to Arkansas, I think their resume is probably the best, but they just lose to bad teams.
They do.
They beat Michigan, Kentucky at Rupp Arena for Calipari's game back in Lexington, and then they beat Mizzou. But the thing that I'm struggling to find is the roster that Arkansas has is loaded. Like, it's absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
When
They,
it comes
they get slept on a lot too.
I think, I mean, Zvonimir Ivicic, he can shoot a 3 and he's big in the middle. Boogie Fland,
He can shoot a
Adukiaro.
3 and he's big.
Oh, he is. Oh, but I just think the production from the transfer portal like KU for Arkansas has just not looked good. John L. Davis
yeah.
should have been way better for them this year, in my opinion. He's kind of had a little bit of a step back here. But overall, I don't really know how I feel about them. I think they're going to have to go far in the SEC tournament in order to get in to the NCAA tournament.
Do you
but
think they have that in them?
They definitely have the potential to do it. It's just if they will. If Calipari can get his puppies organized and figure it out.
That's fair. And you were going to touch on Texas a little bit.
Well, I didn't realize that this was the bubble team. I thought we were just talking about teams. So
Why?
I don't know. I mean,
Do you wanna
I can
talk
touch
about
on
Texas?
Texas. I mean, they started the year off with a loss to Ohio State. They then went on a little run. Weren't really playing anybody. They're in the SEC.
What made you pick Texas?
I don't know. I
I'm
thought we
so
were just picking
confused.
You
teams.
just Texas.
Yeah,
you were just
talk
thinking of
about
Arch Manning.
Arch
missing
Manning.
missing talking about him. Missing the glaze.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Conference tourney. Should we get on it?
Yeah,
Sure.
Were you going to transition us?
Well, I'm really confused on what's going on in this rundown right now. So yeah.
Yeah, how
'Cause
long have we
everything
been
was in
live? I
red.
think,
It's like an hour.
Yeah,
I think we've
we're
been
over an
live
hour.
quite a
We're at
few-
58 minutes.
Yeah,
and we have
so-
a couple of chat questions. Well, we have a.
We have a
chat question.
we have a few.
So I
We
was
have
just
a
going to...
chat question.
We have
Yeah,
one.
so I was just going to
We
let
have
one.
chat
Let me answer it.
So yeah, I was just going to I was just gonna move on. We've been doing this for far too long.
Oh yeah. All right.
Let's talk conference tournaments
Yeah,
and
let's
then
do
get
it.
out of here. Who do you guys think wins the Big 12 tournament? Because I don't know if it's going to be Houston. I can see a world where it's Iowa State.
Don't
Give me
overcomplicate
Houston.
it. Yeah, don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, I
It's
think
gonna
it's
be Houston.
I think it's gonna be Houston as well. I think
Perfect.
that's.
I could
that's
see. I
pretty-
could see the Big 12
That's my opinion,
getting
but-
shaken up a little bit.
Yeah.
How wait? The
If
real
Texas
question
Tech is hitting
how far-
threes, Texas Tech.
How far do you think Kansas makes it? Out of,
First
out, of the
round
first,
exits?
out of the first game, I mean,
I was
like,
saying,
First round
last time I
exits.
checked, like their potential opponent was when they were about to play Utah, and so it's changed a lot.
I mean, we
Are they
'cause
playing
we-
on? Are they playing on the first day of the tournament now?
Probably. I mean, me and Case went last year, and it was just painful. We just sat there and watched us get 20-piece by Cincinnati.
Yeah.
That was
Wow.
embarrassing. But we also
It's gonna be even worse
That
this
was
year.
That was a team that didn't have to play in that tournament to make, or didn't have to play in the Big 12 tournament to make March. They really weren't playing for any seeding, and so they were
you're
injured
s-
and resting
I
starters.
guess I don't.
This year they
I
are
don't
playing.
think we make it out of the first round, honestly.
Oh,
And also, we have a deep enough roster this year where if we're
I
playing,
think we can make
without
it.
some
Deep
of
enough
our best
roster.
players.
The deep
Our deep enough roster hasn't
didn't-
worked
yeah,
all
it didn't
season.
I'll
do
give you.
anything all season.
I'll give you that.
It's
But I
not
am
just gonna
saying
randomly start working in March.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, I don't know.
Another absolutely flaming hot Tyler Brewer take. All
it's
right,
not.
where do
You
wanna
look
go?
at the
You
people
wanna move
on
to
the roster,
SEC?
and there's more
SEC.
talent there. We
Let's get
already
it started.
established that.
Who do we think is winning the SEC?
Florida. I think there's
I
a real
love the
world where
vibes from
Auburn,
Florida.
Auburn's the best team in the conference.
But
Sometimes
Auburn-
conference tournaments
yeah.
aren't about the best team winning it.
Give me Tennessee.
That's not crazy.
I think there's a genuine real world where some of these teams who aren't as good as Auburn make some noise. So
Well, does Auburn even have to try in the tournament to get a 1 seed?
no,
And they're going to be the regular season.
yeah,
They
Con-
already
they-
got.
they
the
already
regular
are,
season,
yeah.
so.
So
Yeah.
are they really putting Janiah Broom out there and risking it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they
Yeah.
probably do.
That's a pride you play for. You want to keep that
Yeah.
SEC championship to yourself.
I agree.
I mean,
Uh,
You're not going to rest players.
But
Just-
to
I
go
guess, but
going to me, I definitely think it's going to be Auburn. Janiah Broom has been undoubtedly, other
Case
than
is so
Cooper
basic,
Flag.
bro.
Huh?
Case is so
I mean-
basic, bro.
I mean, he's right.
Who?
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
is.
Chad Baker, Mazzara,
where's
Janiah Broom.
Where's the SEC tournament at?
Ooh, do not know.
I
Off
do
the top of
not
my
know.
head, Grant's looking it up right now. So
But that team is just loaded, and they score about 90 points a game.
Yeah.
Every game, and I was watching that Alabama Auburn game. It was just a straight shootout the entire time. So
That's in Indianapolis.
I think it's
Yeah.
going to be Auburn.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm with Case on that. I think I agree with everything he said. I mean, it's kind of easy. I feel like I understand why you're picking against Auburn, but like, I mean, like the regular season title means something, but in my opinion, the tournament title means a lot more. So I think you want to play for that tournament title.
I just think that the best team doesn't always win the tournament,
I
and you
don't-
get into a close
I
neutral
can-
site game.
I can absolutely see
It's
that.
who's making plays, and it might not be your
Absolutely.
night that night.
Bridgestone
Florida,
Arena.
Tennessee could get one over on them. I don't think it's a
Nashville,
given
Tennessee.
that Auburn. Gets
Yeah,
it
but
all.
I just think with the depth that they have, you know, if
I think, yeah.
Janiah Broom isn't having a good game, you could go to Chad Baker Mazzara, you could go to Denver Jones on the outside. So, if anything, if he's not having a good game, just throwing the ball into Janiah Broom is going to draw a double
Yep.
in the post almost every single time. And if you leave one guy open, that Auburn team can make threes like no other team I've seen.
Yeah.
they're the best team in college basketball for a reason. How about the Big Ten, you guys? Because I'll start it off. I got Purdue.
Yeah.
I think you can't bet against March. You can't bet against Matt Painter.
He doesn't know
And
a
they
lot
have the
about
best
March.
point guard. They have the best
yeah.
point guard in the country.
I don't know.
I want Michigan State.
I think
like Michigan
I
State.
think it's going to be Michigan State
Michigan
personally, but I wouldn't be surprised if Purdue. They're Big Ten title merchants. That's all
See,
they win.
I think there's a lot of teams in the Big Ten kind of getting hot right now. Michigan State had that really close game against Maryland.
Indiana's cooking down the
Maryland,
stretch.
yeah,
Like,
Indiana's
it's a
getting
very-
hot. I think Maryland's a competitive team in that tournament. They can keep it close. Michigan is a good team. They had a really bad outing against Nebraska, but won.
I think it'll. I think
Yeah.
that'll honestly be the most entertaining tournament. I don't think that's too.
I'm
crazy
with
to
you on
say.
that, Trevor. I just think that everyone is such a toss-up. I'm so low on Michigan State. I just think they shank the bullet every year. And
I'm not saying they're winning in March. I just
yeah, I just don't know, and I don't trust Michigan, and Purdue's been shaky, but I think a team like Wisconsin could really take it away.
Wisconsin. I
Where
feel
they-
like
Wisconsin's
they
a
Ohio-
good team.
Ohio
People
State
don't
could
talk-
get hot and
people don't
upset
talk
Purdue
enough
or
about that
upset a
Wisconsin
team.
Oh,
team.
Ohio State's a great take, too.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
another good one. That's what I'm saying. I think pretty much everybody in that conference could.
It's
absolutely.
the exact same
It's
as
gonna
what
be
it is.
sick.
It's what it is now is exactly what we thought it would be.
Yeah.
It's so open. I don't know what our preseason picks were for
Probably
who would win the
Purdue.
Big Ten,
I had
Indiana.
Indiana.
I think I had Indiana too.
but like all of those like picks are in play for
Except Indiana.
for the
the
tournament.
tournament.
For the tournament.
That's the beauty about the Big Ten. So many teams, 18 teams, 15 make the tournament.
Big Ten sweet.
There's
I love the Big
a
Ten.
lot of there's a lot of teams that are not great. They're not the Duke or the Auburn, but there are a lot of teams that are
Yeah.
pretty good. Like Wisconsin. Are these bad?
We all said KU for the Big 12.
Well,
Yikes.
that didn't work out.
Trevor said UConn for the Big East.
That didn't work out.
You said Indiana for the Big 10.
Yikes.
Alabama,
I have faith.
SEC, and Duke for the ACC. That's not bad.
So you went one. You had one right.
Yeah.
I said KU in the Big 12 or Big 12.
So you also had one.
UConn,
What
Big
are
East,
we
and then
doing, Grant?
Illinois for the Big 10.
So you also had one.
Yeah.
And then Jack's the only other one on here.
I had
You
one.
had one.
I had
Because I had Creighton in the
isn't
Big
on here.
East, which at the time was kind of
Not-
like just a joke, but they're
Yeah,
gonna
that
finish
wasn't a bad
second.
pick.
They're gonna finish second. I don't know.
had Nebraska winning the Big Ten, but my whole argument was just that it was a very open conference and they could get hot.
Yeah, but Ben, you were absolutely right.
It's open,
So-
but dang,
I mean,
you should know this, Case. You were like putting the graphics up.
Yeah, Case.
Yeah, I guess I should.
You idiot.
all right. So I mean, we've got two questions in the chat. Not
No.
really two.
Okay, hurry these up.
All right.
I gotta go pee.
How do
Yeah,
I
get outta
feel
here.
about the new Jaguars head coach? I love him. I love that our new coaching guys,
Duval.
Jacksonville, the community. Duval.
I think he's gonna be.
I think he's gonna be
I
pretty
think he's
good.
gonna be-
Okay.
I think he's gonna be a bust.
Oh my God, he gets Ben Johnson. The Bears suck. You're
Oh
getting
my
forced
gosh.
in.
He deflects. He
does
deflects.
deflect. deflector.
We're gonna have a better record than you by the end of the season. And I'll put $50 on that right now.
Shake right now.
Let's do it.
You swear?
$50.
All right,
Let's
bet.
go.
That's free.
$50.
The
That's
battle
free money.
of below mid.
That's free.
You are
money.
getting fourth.
The battle
You
is
are getting
bad.
fourth in the NFC North. You are not beating.
We're still gonna have a better record than you, even if we get fourth in the NFC North.
Get out of here.
Grant,
Absolutely
what are
not.
we talking about?
That was a
What are we
tears.
talking about?
It was a terrible bet. That was that was a terrible bet.
Boom.
I'm not taking this
All
kind of
right.
disrespect.
$53.
I think that's just about it for the show.
Yeah, I think we're done.
I don't think there's any more comments to be looking at here, especially not from Grant's burner.
He asked why I was so fine. I would just like to say I don't know. I just got a haircut today, actually. So, but yeah, it was fun. I had a blast.
Yeah, boys.
Case, the new introduction.
Thank you guys for having me on. I
It
appreciate
was awesome.
it.
This has been great, guys.
It's nice having Case not have to walk from the studio.
I agree.
To
This
make
has
his
been
tapes,
awesome.
So.
It's also it is also really nice that everyone's on here.
Spring break
We're-
next
we're
week
so
and then back at it
We're
after.
so back. It's kind of been slacking a little bit.
Spring break next week. Back at it after. I'm calling it now.
Boom, 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 boom.
Let's get a.
Boom, boom, boom,
let's get
boom.
going.
All right, now let's just stare awkwardly into the camera until they tell us it's done.
We will see you guys later.
Later, guys.
B team on me, B team on 3, 1, 2,